Comic Boom here to review Brave and the Bold #1, written and illustrated by Liam Sharp. Liam Sharp being the celebrated artist of Wonder Woman Rebirth during Greg Rucka's run. This is somewhat of a passion project for Liam Sharp, and I have to tell you, the art here is truly spectacular. So let's delve into this, and I just want to give a brief synopsis of what this comic is actually about. It deals with basically Irish folklore, basically dealing with Irish gods. And I'm not normally a big fan of mythology in general in the context of Wonder Woman. I've always enjoyed Wonder Woman tales that have more to do with Wonder Woman's role in man's world and in humanity, Wonder Woman's adventures in humanity. I'm not a big fan of mythology, although frankly, if you're going to do mythology, I like the way it's being done in the pages of Thor at the moment with Jane Foster Thor. Less so with Wonder Woman. And I don't think Liam Sharp's story here is going to change my mind on that, but it's beautiful to look at, I'll tell you that. This deals with basically Irish folklore. This deals with and I'm going to butcher the language here, but like, one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of mythology is that, you know, it's the language, is they come up with these stupid names for all these things. And one of the reasons why I find mythology to be largely forgettable is that when you come up with names that are impossible to remember, people are going to forget about it, and that's generally what they do, which I find kind of ironic, because the Turnanog, this has to do with an ancient land where there was an ancient people called the Fomorians and the Dinan, or the Dedinan. What a stupid name. Shame on you, Liam Sharp, for not coming up with better names. But anyways, this is an ancient land called Turnanog. I can't make this crap up. And the two peoples, they're fairies. They're like they're like fairy folk. So think of Irish, and you think of the fairies, like the old Irish lore. We have the Fomorians and the Dirdanon, and they're like fairy folk living in a place called Turnanog, and they're having a civil war. And basically, thousands of years ago, they've always been the Fomorians and the Dirdanon have always been fighting against each other. And thousands of years ago, they sort of left the world of man and became isolated, and they isolated themselves, much like, I guess, like the Amazons are sort of isolated from humanity as well, but with a different type of magic involved, I think. And in any event, the power, the gateway between Turnanog and our world, more and more of those gateways to the land of Turnanog and mankind, humanity, slowly become closed off, because the power of the gods is premised upon humanity's belief in them and humanity's love for them, and that love has to be returned by the gods to humanity. And because the more forgotten the Fomorians and the Didanan were, God, I hate those names. The more of these doors to their realm became closed off, and so they became increasingly isolated, these Fomorians and the Dirdanon, and as a result of that isolation, they're leading more and more into war. And a representative of those two warring tribes, I guess, or a caring soul by the name of Kirkanos Kernak. Kirkanos Kernak. He's a deity, I guess. He's a god. Kirkanos, Lord Kirkanos, disturbs Wonder Woman's lovemaking when she's, banging Steve Trevor, because he wants Wonder Woman in her vast experience. She doesn't have a lot of experience, but he somehow naively believes that she does. She's only been around for what? Under 30 years, but for whatever reason, Wonder Woman's got a reputation as an ambassador of peace and a warrior and free spirit, and having a connection to gods and a respect for deities. He wants Wonder Woman to help broker a peace between the Fomorians and the Didanon, and to help convince King Aletha, and King Aletha is the king of the Fomorians, king of Fomora, and King Aletha is someone who desires to open the doorway to humanity, to bring the gods, those Irish gods, those fairy folk, back into humanity's domain, and that's something that Lord Kirkenos does not want, and he wants Wonder Woman to talk some sense into King Aletha and to help King Aletha help him abandon his plans to have the fairy folk return to humanity, and also to help broker a peace between the civil war that's occurred between the Fomorians and the Dirdanat. All right, so good grief, all that jazz for. It's actually not a bad story. What I find interesting here is how I like to link this with Wonder Woman's adventure with Batman. Wonder Woman's adventure with Batman, where her and Batman were trapped in the realm for 39 years. They were trapped in another, or 37 years they were trapped in another realm in the pages of Batman. And for every minute that passed, I mean, basically 37 years passed for them, but only 1 hour passed in, a couple hours passed in our time, because time was different. I figure that Wonder Woman went for 37 years without getting laid. You know, Batman got laid when he got back, because he banged, you know, he slept with Selena. This is the issue that shows Wonder Woman sleeping with Steve Trevor, and you just know she's sleeping with Steve Trevor because she just came off a 37-year battle against the hordes of the Everlasting Horde in the pages of Batman issue 39 and 40. So that's the explanation. That's what's really going on there, I think. Now, having said that, kudos to Liam Sharp for drawing, beautifully illustrating Wonder Woman's love for Steve Trevor here. Very classy, a lot of showing the intimacy, showing the love that they have for each other. And I love how Wonder Woman, Lord Kirkenos comes in there and he wants her help, and she says, "Give me an hour, I'll help you in an hour." And Steve Trevor's wondering, you know, why do you need an hour? You're usually ready right away. You don't even wear makeup. Why do you need to get ready? You don't need an hour. And of course, then she disrobes. And of course, that's because she wants a little bit more action before she goes and brokers peace between a bunch of fairy folk in another realm. So kudos to Liam Sharp. That part of the story I liked. The art here is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Drawing the fairy gods, drawing the how beautiful Tirnanog is. The realm of Tirnanog is absolutely beautiful. And one thing about Tirnanog, the beauty of Tirnanog in the story is rivaled only by the flaws of the characters that make Tirnanog up. The fairy folk, the leprechaun-looking folk, the Irish-looking sort of gods and the fairies. It's just absolutely beautifully drawn in all its beautiful flaws and its beautiful glory. It's a visual feast, and like so many, like a number of comic books coming out nowadays, this is definitely a comic worth getting just for the art. This story, it's a good foundation for a story. It took a while for me I had to reread it multiple times to get the names. I've actually written the names down in front of me here that you can't see, and I butchered them even talking to you guys. But you know, there's some good stories here. Now, how does Batman come into play? How does Batman and Gotham City come into play? Well, while this is going on, while Wonder Woman's being recorded by Lord Kernanos, Batman has noticed something curious happening in the Irish quarter of Gotham City. And what's happening in the Irish quarter of Gotham City is this individual by the name of Patrick O'Shaw. Naturally, he's an Irishman. Patrick O'Shaw is aware that something is happening in Tirnanog, and that he believes that at some point the gates are going to open between our world and Tirnanog, and so he's in the Irish quarter of Gotham City. Meanwhile, the people of the Irish quarter of Gotham City are walking almost like they're haunted. They're dragging their feet. Batman notices from the Batcave, because he monitors all of Gotham City, he notices that something is clearly wrong. So he goes to check out the Irish quarter of Gotham City, where he can't figure out exactly what the hell is going on. And before he figures out, has some idea what's going on, there's this fog that appears, and comic book ends with Batman being caught in this trance-like state where that is somehow linked to what's happening in Tirnanog. And how this is all connected, we're not really sure, but it's quite clear that the civil war that's going on in Tirnanog that has resulted in the death of King Elisha. That King Elisha, his death, he was likely murdered. Wonder Woman arrives at the scene. She arrives to speak to King Elisha to find out that King Elisha has been murdered, and apparently one of the suspects is a young boy. And How that is going to affect the peace talks, it doesn't know, but clearly right away you know that that's going to cause a problem in the peace talks. It's probably going to aggravate civil war. So all of Wonder Woman's talent and skills as a peaceful warrior and as a negotiator and as a diplomat and as an ambassador for peace, you know Wonder Woman's all of her skills are going to be tested in this 6-issue story arc. So this has all the hallmarks of being a potentially quite a good story. The art's fantastic. Batman is in Gotham City. At some point he's going to cross paths with Wonder Woman. That's going to be in subsequent issues. Wonder Woman and Batman do not meet in this issue, but I gotta say that this is interesting. Wonder Woman and Batman's mythologies don't always mesh up. It's a little bit too early to tell the degree to which they might mesh up here, but Gotham City does have an Irish quarter. You got the fairy folk of Irish lore involved here. You got Wonder Woman as an ambassador for peace. You know, Batman's going to want to get to the bottom of this in terms of what's going on. So this is a great start for what looks like to be an interesting story. I do recommend people get this. The art here is beautiful. There is a story to be told. It's relatively easy to follow. You know, I've identified my bias in my own psychological block that I can't seem to read the language of mythological gods very well. I get so frustrated. I swear to God, guys, I've edited this freaking video a number of times, and I might have to edit it even more because, good Lord, I can't. I just get so frustrated with these crazy names. I don't know why they should just call them Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or something. And you know, this is my god Fred. Why can't gods have simple names? Really? Turnanog, Famoria, Dudanon. Seriously? I just call them fairies. Anyways, despite my inability to articulate very well, I did enjoy this for the art alone, and the story's pretty good. Pick this up. Liam Sharp's doing a great job, and the colors here are vibrant and gorgeous. And I will give a shout out to the other Romula Fajardo Jr.'s on colors. I think I saw him on Wonder Woman a couple times in the Wonder Woman comic. He's really good. The letterer is L. I don't know. Even these names, where do they get these people? ALW's Troy Peterize, the letterer. Don't ask. But great job on lettering. The lettering here really is fantastic. It's very well done. Sharp and Fajardo on the cover. Brian Cunningham, group editor. Rob Levin, associate editor. Mike Cotton and Jessica Chen are the editors. This is a really good comic book. I recommend it to you guys. Anyways, enjoy this comic. It's fun. In the meantime, until next issue, Comic Boom out.